Goddess of the moon, a tale of power, love, and destiny. The birth of a celestial being. In the farthest reaches of the heavens, where stars themselves were but whispers of light, the goddess of the moon was born. Her name was Nkem, meaning mine to keep, for she was the celestial embodiment of the moon, cherished by the universe. Nkem's origins were not from mortal parents but from celestial entities, the moon, her mother, and the night sky, her father. From the moment she opened her eyes, Nkem glowed with an ethereal beauty, yet her presence was fearsome. Towering at an unfathomable height, her form shimmered like silver moonlight, casting eerie shadows with every movement. Her skin was as pale as ice, with swirling patterns that seemed to flow like the tides of the ocean. Her eyes, deep and hollow, were pools of endless night, reflecting the light of distant stars. She wore a crown forged from the broken pieces of ancient moons that had long since perished. Her hair, long and flowing, was dark as the void but flecked with luminous stardust, trailing behind her like a comet's tail. Her voice, when she spoke, resonated like the hum of the universe itself, a sound both enchanting and terrifying. The separation from the heavens. Nkem had lived for eons in the company of her mother and father. Her mother, the moon, taught her the ways of balance, how to guide the tides and watch over the dreams of mortals. Her father, the night sky, was the calm blanket that enveloped the stars, teaching her patience and the importance of shadows. But Nkem was not content in the endless night. She sought to understand the world beneath her gaze, to feel the warmth of the sun on her cold skin, to walk among mortals. One fateful night, during the darkest phase of the lunar cycle, Nkem descended from the sky. The moon wept as she left, casting a veil of sorrow over the heavens, but Nkem could not be stopped. She severed her connection to her parents, leaving her celestial home to find her purpose on earth. The gods whispered of her descent, and the mortals shivered as they felt her approach. The first appearance in Ogu Ala. The village of Ogu Ala had always been a peaceful place. Nestled in the valley between two towering mountains, it was a village rich in tradition and folklore. But one night, the sky darkened unnaturally, and a heavy stillness fell over the land. The villagers huddled in their homes, sensing something beyond their understanding was drawing near. Nkem appeared at the edge of the village, her giant form looming over the trees. She moved silently, her pale skin glowing in the night, and her eyes scanning the village as if searching for something. Some villagers claimed to have seen her figure wandering through the mist, others spoke of hearing whispers carried on the wind, but none dared approach the celestial being. However, one soul was brave enough to confront the unknown. The village's priestess, an elderly woman named Edeora, stood before Nkem, unafraid. Edeora recognized her for what she was, a goddess from the stars, a being of immense power and sadness. "Why have you come, goddess of the night?" Edeora asked, her voice steady. Nkem looked down at her, and for the first time in her existence, she spoke to a mortal. "I seek love. I seek a purpose. Love found in a mortal king." Nkem was welcomed into Ogu Ala, though the villagers remained cautious around her towering, ethereal figure. She wandered the village by night, her giant form casting long shadows across the land. Her presence brought prosperity to the village, as crops grew taller and fuller under her moonlight, and rivers flowed more abundantly. The villagers began to leave offerings at her feet, hoping to earn her favor. One day, the village received a visit from a neighboring kingdom, led by a powerful and wise king named Obina. He had heard tales of the strange moon goddess who had descended upon Ogu Ala and came to witness the phenomenon for himself. Upon seeing her, the king was struck by her otherworldly beauty and the sadness that clung to her like mist. Nkem, too, was captivated by Obina's kindness and his ability to see past her fearsome appearance. They spent many nights together, walking under the moon, speaking of the stars and of their lives. Despite their differences, he, a mortal king, and she, a celestial being, they found love in each other. Nkem, for the first time, felt a warmth she had never known in the cold void of the heavens. The power of the moon. Nkem used her moon powers to bless the village that had welcomed her with open arms. She brought wealth and prosperity to the people of Ogu Ala, causing their crops to grow bountifully, their animals to multiply, and their rivers to flow endlessly. The village began to thrive like never before, and the people praised her as a goddess who had given them a prosperous life. During full moons, Nkem would stand atop the highest hill and bathe the land in her light, casting protective spells that warded off evil spirits and sickness. The villagers no longer feared her as they once had. Instead, they saw her as a benevolent protector, one who had brought them peace and prosperity. Her love for the king, Obina, grew deeper, and the village flourished under her celestial touch. A life on earth. Nkem remained in Ogu Ala, fulfilling her purpose and living alongside the people she had come to care for. Her love for Obina grew stronger with each passing night, and she often wondered if her destiny had always been to leave the heavens and find a home on earth. She no longer longed for the stars or the cold embrace of the moon. Instead, she cherished the warmth of the sun on her skin, the laughter of children, and the love she had found in Obina. But as time passed, Nkem realized that her time on earth was not eternal. Her celestial nature would eventually pull her back to the heavens, and she would have to make a choice, to remain on earth with Obina and forsake her divine power, or to return to the night sky and watch over him from afar the sacrifice. As Nkem and Obina's love deepened, Nkem began to feel the pull of her celestial home. She knew that her time on earth was limited, and her powers were beginning to wane. The village, though still prosperous, began to feel the effects of her weakening influence. Crops did not grow as abundantly, and the river slowed. Nkem faced an agonizing choice, to remain with Obina and live as a mortal, forsaking her divine powers, or to return to the heavens and continue her celestial duties. Obina, seeing her struggle, told her that he would love her no matter what she chose, but the village still needed her. Nkem made her decision on the night of a full moon. The final goodbye. Under the glow of the full moon, Nkem stood with Obina on the highest hill in Ogu Ala. She held his hand, her heart heavy with the knowledge of what she had to do. "I must return," she whispered, her voice trembling. "The village needs the moonlight, and my powers can only flourish if I am in the heavens." Obina nodded, tears in his eyes, but he understood. Their love, though deep and true, could not hold back the forces of destiny. Nkem kissed him one last time, and with a heavy heart, she ascended back into the night sky. The legacy of the goddess. Though Nkem had left, the village of Ogu Ala never forgot her. The prosperity she had brought continued to bless the village for generations, and the people built a grand temple in her honor. They would gather on the night of each full moon to celebrate the goddess who had walked among them, and they would tell the story of her love for their king. As for Obina, he ruled wisely for many years, always watching the moon at night, knowing that Nkem was watching over him from above. He never loved another, for his heart belonged to the goddess who had come down from the stars and taught him the meaning of true love. Part 10. A love that transcended time. Though she had returned to the sky, Nkem's love for Obina remained eternal. She continued to guide the moon's light, shining brightly over the village, ensuring that it prospered under her watchful gaze. When Obina finally passed from the mortal world, Nkem welcomed him among the stars, where their love could last for all eternity. Together, they lit up the night sky, their love shining as brightly as the stars themselves. The legend of the moon goddess and the mortal king became a story told for generations, a tale of love, sacrifice, and the power of destiny. The legacy of the goddess. Though Nkem had left, the village of Ogu Ala never forgot her. The prosperity she had brought continued to bless the village for generations, and the people built a grand temple in her honor. They would gather on the night of each full moon to celebrate the goddess who had walked among them, and they would tell the story of her love for their king. As for Obina, he ruled wisely for many years, always watching the moon at night, knowing that Nkem was watching over him from above. He never loved another, for his heart belonged to the goddess who had come down from the stars and taught him the meaning of true love. Part 10. A love that transcended time. Though she had returned to the sky, Nkem's love for Obinna remained eternal. She continued to guide the moon's light, shining brightly over the village, ensuring that it prospered under her watchful gaze. When Obinna finally passed from the mortal world, Nkem welcomed him among the stars, where their love could last for all eternity. Together, they lit up the night sky, their love shining as brightly as the stars themselves. The legend of the moon goddess and the mortal king became a story told for generations, a tale of love, sacrifice, and the power of destiny.